Classic rock album reviews coming right at you.
SHMACKEMAGOB, everybody. Man, I can't believe I have not done a review to one of my favorite albums ever. Riot, man. Fire Down Under. I can't believe I haven't done this. So I pulled out all my Riot stuff here. I don't own all of it, but everything I do own rules. And I heard the ones I don't own, and they rule as well. This band's got a perfect discography. But I'm going to talk about my favorite one now. But before I go into it, I want to give you my history on Riot. And by the way, there's a lot of people that will say, oh, Thundersteel's the best, and Born in America, timeline's everything, all right? Fire Down Under is the best Riot album, in my opinion. And I gotta say, the way I discovered Riot was I saw them live. I went to go see Black Sabbath on the Heaven and Hell tour. And yeah, that tour had Blue Oyster Cult, it was black and blue all over everywhere. But down here, it was with Johnny Van Zant and Riot. Now, I didn't know who Riot was, and this is like maybe my third, fourth show ever. And at the Miami Highlight, and man, they blew my mind. I mean, I will never forget the vision of Mark Reale playing that Gibson Les Paul, Sunburst Les Paul, and they just kicked ass. It was the Narita tour, and blew my mind. Then soon after, a year later, a friend of mine bought Fire Down Under, and my God, we used to jam to that album. I remember we would jam to that. We would jam to Saxon, Denim and Leather, Fair Warning from Van Halen, Diary of a Madman. 1981 was a badass year. And then he dubbed it on cassette for me, and I would play it over and over again. And then they opened for Rush on the Moving Pictures tour. And the ironic part about that show was Neil Peart was late to the show. I think he was in the Bahamas trying to get a plane. The plane was canceled or something. So they wouldn't open the gates. And there was a wall around the Sportatorium. There were cops all up on the wall. And the guy got up on the wall and hit a cop over the head with a 2x4. I will never forget that. I was like, what the hell? And then soon after, the cops threw like canisters of tear gas into the crowd because we were all unruly. Fuck you, fuck you. And man, if you ever breathe tear gas, it's like breathing fire. It was terrible. So I was near the gate. Everybody started dispersing everywhere, and I fell to the ground, and I was being trampled on. And I got to thank Claude for saving my life. My friend Claude grabbed me by the arm and pulled me out of there. And then, you know, Neil showed up. They opened the gate, and we went in. And the ironic part is, you know, there was a riot. And then we saw the band Riot, and it was the Fire Down Under tour. And I'll never forget, man. I remember seeing them play a Don't Hold Back and Outlaw and Swords and Tequila. It was just a ripping performance. And then, of course, Rush came out and blew our minds as well. So I'll go into what I own, and then I'll get into my favorite album. Not many of yours, but my favorite album. Oh, by the way, I know a lot of people agree with me. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel alone on this one. Rock City. This is their first album. Great album, man. Warrior, Tokyo Rose, Gypsy Queen. Good stuff, man. And then, like I told you, the tour I saw, Narita. This has the great Road Racing. What a song, man. And Kick Down the Wall, the title track. Well, I can go through this all. I will go through this all. Give me a second. So then, Guy Speranza, amazing singer. He did the first 3 albums. Then they got this guy called Rhett Forrester. Awesome singer as well. And by the way, Guy and Rhett has passed away. Unfortunately, Rhett was murdered. And this album rules, man. Hard Loving Man, Lone Shark, Violent Crimes. Great cover of When I Was Young, CIA. And then they did another one with them called Born in America. Now most people would pick Born in America as the best album with Rhett Forrester, and I don't blame him because it is a great album. You know, you have Wings of Fire on here, and Vigilante Killer, Gunfighter. This is an awesome album, and I don't blame people that think this is the best one with Rhett Forrester. But in my opinion, it's this one. I love this album, and I should do an episode on Restless Breed in the future. And then they went away for a while, and they came. Well, he came back. Mark Reale, only original member on this one, Thundersteel, and it's speed metal, power metal, is totally different, but it rocks. Now, this tour was booked at City Limits here in Fort Lauderdale, which is no longer there. I bought tickets to it, and I went to the show. I got to the door, and they said it was canceled. And I never refunded my ticket. I still got it. I still have the ticket. But anyway, unfortunately, I never got to see this. Then they released Privilege of Power, and these are the CDs I have. Fire Down Under, which I took out because I need to talk about this CD on this episode. Very important. Shine On, which is a great live album. Sons of Society, awesome album. And Through the Storm, good stuff. All right, so now let's talk about my favorite and many people's favorite Riot album, Fire Down Under. As I told you, my friend dubbed me the cassette. And I lived with it for a couple years, then I finally bought this record. And I'll never forget the first time I put this on my turntable. And I listened to the opening, blistering, kick-ass track, Swords and Tequila. I was like, I looked at the album, I go, oh, it's called Swords and Tequila. All this time I thought it was Salt and Tequila. You know, because people put salt between their thumb and index finger, take a shot and suck on salt, and lemon, whatever. But it's Swords and Tequila, and what a great opener. Sets the mood, lets you know, hey, we're gonna kick your ass on this song, but we're not gonna stop, because the next track is the title track, which is Fire Down Under, ripping. See, at the time this was heavy metal. That's a blistering metal song. Yeah, as time has gone by, it's been diluted and it's no longer metal, known as metal. It's hard rocking if you listen to this. But I'll always have a sentimental metal relationship with this, as well as AC/DC, Van Halen, you know, Ted Nugent was all called heavy metal back then. You know, it's hard rock, yes, I know in my heart it's hard rock, but in my head I still want to grasp on my youth and say, that's metal, bitch. Anyway, yes. Then the next track, Feel the Same, right? Feel the Same is awesome. It's kind of melodic. What an amazing singer the late Guy Speranza was. Wow. And Feel the Same always reminds me of my friend Eve from New York, because every time this album comes up, she's like, Feel the Same. She loves that song. I believe it's her favorite song. My favorite song, and my all-time favorite Riot song overall, is the next tune, Outlaw. Oh, man. Man, does that song rule. I mean, that song, it's a crime against humanity that people don't say, wow, I'm really burnt out on Outlaw because it's on the radio so much. Because it should be. It should be played as much as like Bohemian Rhapsody and Black Dog from Zeppelin, you know? It should be played as much as that. It should be a radio staple. It's a crime. It's a crime this album didn't do better. Outlaw rules. Then end side one with Don't Bring Me Down. What a badass song, man. Badass way to end side one. It's just a pummeling all the way through of hard rock, in my head metal, greatness. Flip the album over and oh man, they know how to start side two on this one. Don't Hold Back. Oh, it's kind of got a galloping thing. It's just a badass song. One of my favorites Probably my, let me look. Yeah, my third favorite. After Outlaw and Swords of Tequila, I'd say Don't Hold Back. Awesome song. Next track is Altar of the King. That one's like the epic on this album. It has a cool little guitar interlude, and it just rips. And ever since 2011, every time I hear Altar of the King, I think of Jeff Waters, because I was on the 70 Tons of Metal, and Riot was on it too. But Mark Reale ended up in the hospital, couldn't get on the ship. The band did perform right after we found out the news that Mark passed away. And I saw grown men crying. I really did. And the band went up there and they killed it, man. They went up there and it was kind of like, you got the vibe of, you know, this one's for you, Mark. We're gonna play the music he wrote. And it was an amazing performance. It was just, you know, bittersweet, but it was badass. But the reason Altar of the King reminds me of Jeff Waters, because Annihilator was on the ship, and I spoke to him for a little bit, super nice guy, and we were talking about Mark Reale, and he brought up Temple of the King. I mean, Temple of the King, listen to me, Altar of the King. You know, man, Altar of the King, and then we talked about, you know, Swords of Tequila, Outlaw, and this album in general, you know, and always reminds me of him. Next track is No Lies. Great hard rock, melodic, just badass song, man. I would say this album's all killer, no filler, but I can't. That's why I brought out that CD, but let me explain. The last track for me, because it's not technically the last track, but the next track is Run For Your Life, which I consider the last track. Run For Your Life is ripping. Run for your life, run for your life. It's just a badass song. Great ending to the album, but unfortunately, it's not the ending of the album. What ends the album is flashbacks. Now, I don't like it. And I remember doing, I think, a track by track of Fire Down Under, and I said that. I don't like this song, because it's not a song. It's just, you know, guitar ripping and you know, thrown in as some live audience noises. And when I did that track by track, there was more than one, like 3-4 people left comments going, dude, I love flashbacks, so hey, you know, more power to you. I just don't think it's a song. Now, the reason I bring out the CD, this was released on High Voltage Records in 1997, and it brings 5 bonus tracks. Really 4, because the last one, Hot Life, it's only 23 seconds, but Struck by Lightning, man, replace that. Replace Flashback with Struck by Lightning. Great song. Or Misty Mountain Rain, which is a great melodic, kick-ass tune. I love You're All I Needed Tonight, not to be confused with the Cars' You're All I Need Tonight. And One Step Closer. All great songs. All would have been better on this album and made it all killer, no filler to me if they did that. But there you go. I needed to talk about Fire Down Under. What an amazing, amazing classic album. Something that I'm shocked I have not talked about yet. I actually, you know, even searched my channel to see if I did it. I was like, did I do it? I mean, and then I was shocked. I was like, I never talked about Fire Down Under. What the fuck, man? What's wrong with me? And you know, something I really love on YouTube or, you know, any social media is when somebody says to me, man, you turned me on to that, and I love it. Like my great friend Charlie Hill. I didn't know him yet. He used to listen to my podcast. He lives down here in Florida. He listened to some podcasts where I was talking about Cheap Trick. It became his favorite band to the point that he has a Cheap Trick tattoo on him, a checkerboard thing, and he's in a Cheap Trick cover band, and he even traveled 4 or 5 hours, you know, up north to see Robin Zander and his son, and he got me a cool shirt. I love you, Charlie Hill, if you're watching. Charlie, if you don't know this album, maybe if I remember, I'm going to tag him. Watch this review, in case you don't know. So I think it's awesome. You know, the coolest shit about YouTube for me is, you know, the subscribers, all you people that are watching me, especially you all that are watching me now, it's so late in the video. You know, I so appreciate it. I don't take none of that for granted. And also, people that tell me, you know, you got me into this and I love it. I'm like, man, that's awesome. You know? I haven't, you know, if somebody would say, man, you made me check that out and it sucks, that would be horrible. But that's never happened. I don't think. Maybe it has. But either way, this is my video of Fire Down Under. A damn classic. A must-have. I'm telling you, if you don't know this album and you're into hard rock, check it out. And you may be writing me saying, dude, you're right. That shit rules. I bought a copy. Or I can't stop listening to it on Pussify or whatever the fuck that thing's called. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Right on, everybody. Stay frosty. Listen to Riot, Fire Down Under, and then follow it up with Sabbath, Black Sabbath, and SHMACKEMAGOB.